eternal love, and KOS. Oh yes, we finna come and give the origin of Kabbalah and all occult sciences. That's right. We finna debunk Kabbalah and all occult sciences by you having self-knowledge of what these things are from the perspective of greater education, which is eternal. So we're going to bring in forth, did you know that Kabbalah is considered a cult? So if Kabbalah is considered a cult, then we must know what a cult is. Therefore, we can understand what Kabbalah is. So let's go on. Let's understand. Let's hop on the ship of understanding and begin to know through self-knowledge. Article 5, occult. Okay, if you heard the word occult, here we come. Canon 3458. We finna get into what is occult science. Occult is a term defining a wide variety of knowledge, of rituals and practices. Did we hear that? Occult is a term defining a wide variety of knowledge of rituals and practices. This has nothing to do with self-knowledge. It has to do with knowledge of rituals and knowledge of practices. All right. So these knowledge of rituals, which is a wide variety of rituals and practices, are usually associated with magic and other forms of power and manipulation. Manipulation, power, magic, and knowledge of rituals and practices is what a cult is. And normally, the cult is kept hidden and secret from ordinary people or followers. That's your everyday Joe Blow. Hence, the Latin word occultus, meaning literally clandestine, hidden and secret. So let's continue. All religions. This is Canon 3459. All religions mean any. Any religion and all religions and cults. Religions and cults include aspects of occult knowledge within their rituals and within their beliefs. The most common knowledge that is hidden is called occult. This is the most common knowledge hidden as occult. But the most knowledge that is hidden as occult is the knowledge of magic. The knowledge of magic. This is the most hidden occult knowledge. So now you finna understand what you need to understand. And that's Canon 3460 as we complete a major point of differentiation between a religion and a cult is the degree to which the core knowledge of rituals and belief is occult versus open to members. Even if knowledge is less developed than older religions, a key sign of a cult is a higher emphasis of occult knowledge than open knowledge. As I said, remember, occult, dealing with the key sign of a cult, is a higher emphasis of occult knowledge than open knowledge, and thus promoting high levels of cretinism within the ranks of its members. So whatever religion, or maybe you ain't a religion, maybe you're part of a cult. Maybe you didn't know that a religion is a large cult. Is magic in your religion? Let's continue. Canon 3461. Knowledge hidden as a cult. We're talking about knowledge hidden as a cult does not imply accuracy. Does not imply accuracy, nor validity. However, the practice of hiding information as occult knowledge, what that does, that implies a greater value that otherwise might be attributes if such knowledge was freely available for critical analysis. You got the insight? Now, this is about Kabbalah right here. Canon 3462. Occult, Kabbalah being a cult, and Kabbalah being a bag of magic. We need to understand why magic and occult is tied together to Kabbalah. Because Canon 3462, occult literature. Kabbalah is occult literature. So occult literature is not only Kabbalah, but listen, occult literature associated with Kabbalah, occult literature associated with sorcery, occult literature associated with Wicca, occult literature associated with wizardry, occult literature associated with witchcraft, occult literature associated with black magic, and occult literature associated with necromancy. All occult literature associated with any of these is based on trick and illusionary magic with no solid base of occult wisdom whatsoever. However, as minds, your mind, are more prone to believe tricks and illusions through theatrical display. This is how your mind get tricked. You know, on them videos how they show you all those theatrics. Oh, the theatrical display is how your mind get tricked. Where's the proof of the literature? Where's the source? We don't need the videos. We can create that with our own self. Don't hand me down. Let's continue. Through the theatrical display. Now, Pete, such occult literature is considered more powerful and credible only to ignorant believers of the mind than genuine wisdom. See, most people would take the theatrical approach versus the genuine wisdom, self-experience, self-direction. So we want to close on this source with this message. Canon 3463 wants the ability to defraud and manipulate people through trick and illusionary magic. It's considered most occult texts are self-serving and contain little or no true eternal wisdom. Now I'm going to go into the Kabbalah to show you why the Kabbalah is not a act of God, let's say. So now, have you heard of this term I pulled up on the screen called humanism? Now, see, these are the two poles they are putting the people in and tricking them with illusionary and trick magic. So now we're going to go into the opposite. Before we go into what Kabbalah is, we're going to go into the opposite so you can get an understanding of the full spectrum. It's like red and purple or the rainbow. So you have both ends, and you know in between is your decision. Now, Article 136 is humanism. Now, check this out. Humanism is a term. This is Canon 6501. Source of my citation. Humanism is a term describing both a complex philosophy and movement created by the Pisan, Venetian families. Now, if you've been up on the Sufis, we know we've been traveling, and this is who we come into understanding where all this stuff comes under the family of, or the family name as the source name, who've been concocting this as the cult. So now, let's listen. From the end of the 15th century, so this been laid down, this ain't nothing new, and the early 16th century, usually purported legitimate works from primarily ancient Greek philosophers to do what? To define a reality, a world based on circular human values, human skills, and human concerns. You'll say nothing ain't wrong with that, right? Yeah, nothing sound wrong with that. Now check this out. Rather than ecclesiastical, occult, divine matters. So this is the philosophy that takes your whole spirit away and takes the whole divine away and constricts you to you just eat, sleep, and go to work type of human that has no inner self that can decide and create. So they say humanism restricts all divine matters. And this is a philosophy and a movement. You may know it as Human Resource Department. This is all forms of humanism. So we see value in the human skills can bring a lot of productivity. But excluding that same human who you value in skills and knowledge, but you're isolating them from the true eternal wisdom. That might change the trajectory of productivity for one's own reality. Remember, they defined this reality, a group of family, a Venetian family. So humanism is therefore the antithesis. This is the red. The humanism is therefore the antithesis of Kabbalah mysticism, which was also created by the same people, the Pisan Venetians family, during the same period. So these people have an agenda with what they're releasing, and these people are very complex. They are very into magic, and it's specifically what we just read, black magic and necromancy. Look those up, please. Understanding that, we're not going to go into the specifics of the philosophy of humanism. You can, as you see, the screenshot is available, but we're going to move forward to the topic at hand, and that is what is Kabbalah. We hear this term come out a lot, but guess what you don't hear? It's what KOS community provide, and that's the origin. The origin of these things. Where did Kabbalah originate from? Where does all this mysticism, this mystery and spookyism, mystery God come from? So let's get in the closet. Let's find what's in the wardrobe. Article 137, Kabbalah mysticism. Citing the source, Canon 6513. Now, Kabbalah, Kabbalah, is a Hebrew, Hebrew. And please know that is not the same as the Hibiru. So this Hebrew version belongs to a family that we need to understand, and maybe throughout this context, you'll have a contextual understanding and a framework to awareness, how it conceived and how it's received. But now, most importantly, you're going to have the inception. See, because you see the Kabbalah in Hebrew means the reception. So they want you to receive this because it's some of a divine essence, but you don't know its origin. So you don't know if it's a divine or not. And it was created by men. So you got to take a shot on that. And these were not prophets. And these are not holy men that lived a holy life, as we see. This day text that exists that we can prove and pull up today to say it's created. So they were successful in their mission. So let's go forth and we hear this word. So now we know Kabbalah means reception. You can also spell Kabbalah with a C, and they'll spell it Cabala. See, this is where you get the word Cain and Abel. But understanding where the Bible come from now, you understanding more of how Kabbalah got here. See, they say the King James Version is a 1611 version, right? So keep these timelines in mind. And they call the people that's in places, they practice Kabbalah, right? So keep this in mind. So the Kabbalah is a late 15th century and 16th century CE incomplete occult philosophical framework created by the Piscean Venetian families. What it does, what are they willing to do with this Kabbalah that seeks to define and then reveal to worthy initiates the true rules, functions, and purposes between the absolute divine creator in Kabbalah called Ein Sof and levels of existence of the universe in Kabbalah called Olam. Now, these are through complex teachings and reinterpretations of sacred texts. So it's not even the source of the text itself. It reinterprets sacred texts. Sacred texts and symbols. So Kabbalah is therefore the antithesis of humanism, also created by the Piscean Venetian families during the same period. So as we see, the spectrum of the rainbow is complete. On one side, you have the Kabbalah. On the other side, you have humanism. And both was created by one family. And these want to have a framework in your mind that gives you a source or gives you some belief of philosophy that's constructing concepts from ancient texts that you can just get the ancient texts and read it. No, they rather reinterpret it for you and then have you believe their version. So 15th century and the 16th century and the King James Version was 1611. So let's put these things together and understand how these things come about. Now, these are some familiar texts you might have heard if you go into these sacred texts. So here are the sacred texts. This is what they are interpreting. Contrary, this is coming from the citation of Canon 6514. Contrary to the myriad of deliberate disinformation and falsities. So all of these is disinformation and falsities, what we know as a nexus. And a nexus is a mind virus. And a mind virus is self-hate. So it teaches you self-hate. It teaches you self-conflict. And it teaches you and it verifies that you need a savior. All right, now here we come. The majority of foundational Kabbalah texts were completed between the end of the 15th century and the end of the 16th century. Being first the Sefer Yetzirah. The Sefer Yetzirah, if you heard of that, then that is called in Hebrew the book of creation. Did you know the Sefer Yetzirah is a pseudepigrapher? A pseudepigrapher text, first written no earlier than the 15th century CE, and purported to share ancient knowledge from the times of Abraham at Ur, particularly with child sacrifice, cannibalism, and satanic worship. This is where the book come from. They reinterpreting Sefer Yetzirah, which is a pseudepigrapher, fake book. And the fake book is talking about child sacrifice, cannibalism, and satanic worship. And this is people say they in the Kabbalah group. I bet they don't know this, but I bet you do if you searching. If you seeking, seeking you shall find. But those who not seeking and thinking they coming into some ultimate power, and you coming into the divine names of the Tetragrammaton. I hope you come to this video. I hope you come to this awareness. I hope you come to self-awareness and self-taps you on the shoulder and begins to awaken you and to know that something ain't right. Oh, I got a call. Had a recall. Let's see. Let's get through. We got to get through the video right quick. I just had a call in. So when it comes to the teaching, we got to finish the teaching. And then, Abraham did not do none of this stuff, as we have the original source and sources that predates this source, and it's all available in the video. This is what we call Sufis. So all of this, well, we'll even bring that forth. I don't know in this video. I bring it forth in words. That the true word is called al-Baqar. And then if you put the word al-Baqar in reverse, you got Kabbalah. So the true understanding of that is in the Sufa. And so the Sufa understands the exact message of what we never would understand due to reinterpretation, aka hermeneutics. Like a scholarship word for you to know. Hermeneutics. This is when a group of people reinterpret ancient texts and fix it up and update it for you to have and say, here's the version I want you to have. But now let's move to another text of the Kabbalah that they reinterpret. 2 is the De Hominis Dignate. The dignitate. Excuse me. The De Hominis Dignitate. Yeah, I'm not read these books. Understanding that the oriation on the dignity of man is what that word means. The oriation on the dignity of man. What is this about? It's a substantial manifesto of 900 theses on religion, philosophy, natural philosophy, and magic. First published in 1486 by Count Giovanni Pico of Concordia. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, no, it's 1492. So this was 1486. So did the people that did this in 1486 come over here in 1492 and said, "Chef, did they come and bring this Kabbalah?" And this is why we hear about Kabbalah and we hear about these books. Okay, let's see. That represents the founding text of Hermetic. So Hermetic comes from this thing called the Oriation on the Dignity of Man, the De Hominis Dignitate. And this Count of Giovanni Pico of Concordia, that represents the founding text of Hermetic and humanist thought. Then you have another called the Corpus Hermeticum. The Corpus Hermeticum is also a pseudepigrapha text, first published in 1507. This was published in Venice, hence the Venetians. This was published in Venice and allegedly by an author known as Mercurius Term Maximus. In Latin, it goes by 3 times the great Hermes. I hope we caught that. So all the people saying they worship Hermes and Hermes Trismegistus said this and he wrote this. This is actual families of people. And these are names of beings who actually do soul capture. But we'll get into that another one. In his conversation in the revelation of reality, the existence of man with the chief deity of the underworld identified as Thoth, but in Greek is known as Hades, but in Latin is known as Satan. See what I'm saying? So the 7 laws of Hermes, or the 7 laws, was created by these families. See, and that's why it's great to study, because you'll never know these things and you'll just run off with it happy-go-lucky and not knowing you the rubber ducky. So these words thought that you think you saying is something of wisdom and the beginner of writings and the beginner of language, all this is stolen legacy, renamed, rehashed, and reinterpreted by evil families that want your mind, soul, and spirit to die in a body, which could never be if you understand at least this channel and what's posted on this channel. But this is what the battle for your mind is. See, because if they can insert certain ideas into your mind and you don't know where those came from, then they can begin to have their reality come to existence, because they need the existence in the mind to be able to conceive it in the physical. So back to the Corpus Hermeticum, people citing. So all these literatures, if they are part of bibliography or citation, are false. These are pseudepigrapha texts. You heard of the Zohar. The Zohar, right? The Zohar, meaning splendor and radiance. That's also a Hebrew meaning. And that's also a pseudepigrapha text, first published in separate small book form. Where? In Venice, Geneva, and London. From 1558, based on the excerpts of previous Kabbalah works such as the De Hominis Dignitate, as well as the completed revised sacred texts such as the Geneva Bible. You see, so this is where all these new recent revision Bibles come from. See, they practicing witchcraft. What we just said and exposes all occult. And all occult practice, the greatest occult that is hidden is the knowledge of magic. And so that's why all in these books is forms of magic. People doing magic. Now, we must say and ask our question, is magic real? Now we see it only in text. We don't see it in life. The true magic comes from the Creator. So let's just continue with the text and see what else they got. This Geneva Bible was translated into Hebrew. This Geneva Bible was translated into Hebrew as the Tanakh, or the Jewish Bible. The claim that the Zohar was composed by Moses de Leon is 4th century. In the 14th century is a 19th century fraud, an attempt to divert attention from England and its 16th century origins. So there you have it. Next, the Etz Hayim. The Etz Hayim, the Hebrew meaning called the tree of life. Now, the Tree of Life is a text first published in the 17th century. The Etz Haim is a text summarizing the lunar or the Lurianic Kabbalah teachings of Rabbi Isaac Luria, who expanded on the concepts of the Zohar to create a Kabbalic way. Well, there we have it. There go your Tree of Life come into existence. The Kabbalah, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life come into existence. Number 6, the Bahir. None of those are symbols and images. Just know that. The 6, Bahir. Bahir is a Hebrew word meaning bright or clear. Bahir is also a pseudepigrapher text, first published in Amsterdam in 1651, but claimed to be from the 1st century CE. So, Pardes Ramonium, Hebrew meaning garden of pomegranates. If you ever heard of the granates being in the garden or the apple being in the garden, yes, these are your sorcerers. This is the source of who put it in, these sorcerers. Practicing wizardry and witchcraft on our minds. Abort, deject, reject, and suspect. Now, this is a text first published in the 17th century, summarizing the Cordovian Kabbalah teachings of Rabbi Moses Cordovero. So, as you see, these has no intention to bring you into divinity. Man-made products, just like your book. Man-made products. So we're going to have to get over it as a collective. Individually, I hope self is over it. But collectively, we got to get over it. These are man-made books written by families willing to control your mind. And if you accept their beliefs, they control your mind. So we want to go any further. Okay, you do? Okay, well, we'll go further. Canon 65:15. The claims that the Kabbalah represents the concealed parts of the oral Torah. Have you heard that? Oh, you have to get the Torah understanding from the Kabbalah, because the Kabbalah is the oral teachings of the oral Torah. So let me restate. The claims that the Kabbalah represents the concealed parts of the oral Torah is a deliberate fraud designed to hide its 16th century origin. Now this thing gets, yes, let's go on and bring it. We're going to bring it all the way home. We're going to bring it all the way home. Canon 65:16. In the year 1236, this is how long it's been plotted upon the people's minds. The rector, remember we went in our previous video over the rector, the curator, the rector of the Pisan University of Montpellier, an expert on Arabic literature, known as Samuel Judah, was appointed the new rector in the Pisan University of Cordoba. You heard of Cordoba? And the historic collection of several hundred thousands of Arabic texts. By 1242, he had established Cordoba as the leading university, but it was a Pisan university. And by 1245, like all your universities created by families, they don't fall like the sky. And by 1245, began promulgating pseudo texts, allegedly from a teacher known as Moses, also known as Maimonides, being the distillation and translation into the Hebrew of hundreds of texts of Arabic and Persian philosophy. Oh yeah, so what you have has been a long years of crafting. That's what I've been since 10,000 BC of crafting to get your mind exactly where it's at today. And a group of spirits have been doing this. And these are being exposed as we see. They already know themselves. This is old news. This is 15th century. This is already done. The work is already done. Look up the political demoralization plan of Yuri Benzabov, and you will see that the plan has already been put into place and is well done. So the people, even if you present truth, they wouldn't even believe you, as I'm bringing a source. So Canon 6517, the creation of Kabbalah, mysticism, the creation of Kabbalah was born out of a geopolitical and social event in the late 15th century that saw massive upheaval of traditional Pisan and Venetian noble and intellectual families, and the changing fortunes of the two empires. Uh-oh. So this is where all this been going on behind the scenes. When they say behind the scenes, this is what's going on behind the scenes. Families, trading empires, changing fortunes, changing names. So a lot of that goes with change. Remember, the truth is unchangeable. So all this change is done for a reason, to change and keep our minds changing. Canon 6518, Kabbalah is based around a series of key concepts now. See? So Kabbalah is based on concepts. Not actualities and truth and realities, but concepts from which the key and most important doctrines are these. Should we go over them? I mean, these are, I'll just put them on the screen. These are the concepts of pseudepigrapha text. So, and I used to go on that hard, you see. We'll go over some familiar things I know you have heard. Iron sulfur, I know you heard of that. You see, that's the word. Iron sulfur is that word suf. Suf, eon. Can you not see it? Suf, eon. All right. See, so these stillers, or name stillers, created in reverse Ein Sof, just like Kabbalah is in reverse Al-Bakar. They reverse Al-Bakar to Kabbalah and reverse Suf Eon to Ayin Sof, Ayin Sofi. Hebrew meaning no end to existence or infinite wisdom. So when you hear the word Ayin Sof or Ayin Sufi, it means no end to existence, no end to existence, or it means infinite wisdom. And this is the Kabbalah name for the purest form of the divine creator. See what you get here? How they have falsehood and truth strangely mixed. See, and in the source of the All-Sufyan, it tells you that Sufyan, All-Sufyan, is the second name of the divine creator. So that being infinite wisdom, meaning no end to existence. Next word is ayin. They have just the word by itself, ayin. The ayin, and that means is not existence. Is not. So you have is, and then you have is not. So now, is not is the Kabbalah doctrine that before the universe was created, there was only pure ayin, pure notness, pure nothingness, from which was first manifest 11 Sephirot, or counts / emanations of the Ayin Sofi, or the divine creator. I'm familiar with that part, the concepts of Kabbalah. Now, I'm familiar with the concepts of Kabbalah because you get steered down that road just finding the search for the Creator. And so you become familiar with these concepts, but you're not told that these concepts, and you're not told that it's actually yourself. But that's what I'm telling you is yourself. And that's what the All Sufyan is telling you. So as you see those Sufas drop, click on them, because that's the original source. So now, as we see, 11, remember, I ain't went over that. We're going to do a All Sufyan tree of life, because this is where it comes out of. And so as you see, they hijacking heavy in the Kabbalah. And you see this is so later date than the All Sufyan, and they hijacking. The first key concept of the Kabbalah is Ayin Sufi. Hijacking, then the next one is Ayin. And so the third is Yesh. And that means there is. So those are in Cliff Off. You heard of that? If not, that's the other underside of the Sephiroth. They call it the shells. And that's a concept that the body is a shell or hell for the soul and not our true selves. So these concepts are stuck in these philosophy, and in these structures they have what they have written. And so gematria, this is what was called, or you may know it as numerology. That was a practice. They use that. Numerology is a occult practice of gematria, which is a Kabbalah doctrine. So, whereby letters and words and sentences in sacred texts or sacred or legal writing may be replaced with numerical values without defying divine law. So this is how they start cultivating themselves into divine law and playing God and playing the priest of all priests, king of all kings, gods of all gods, and all craziness that we seeing that only come from maniacs. So these is all legal tactics to keep them define divine law and keep you ignorant of divine law, so you'll buy into it. So these things provide a standard coding. So this is how they code or decoding method for creating acronyms is used. So CIA, DEA, FBI, all these are forms of magic. All your sororities, fraternities, all these things. That's why none of them ain't what? KOS. None of them give you knowledge of self. None. Let's go. Furthermore, such methods may reveal hidden truths. So they say these methods reveal hidden truths and messages from the divine creator, intended for only those willing to learn such Kabbalah arts. So all this is fraudulent and fraud, and have no spiritual, legally, or any authority, and not to be revived and only to be suppressed. Like they suppressed the All Sufyan from us, we suppress all occult literature. Merkabah, you heard of that word? I know you heard of that word, so let's go in on that. Merkabah, that's fake. And what they call the Merkabah is a chariot. So all these concepts are fake. They are to steal your mind and to steer your mind if you believe in it. It's deeply esoteric. The Merkabah is deeply esoteric and a secret Kabbalah doctrine. This is a secret Kabbalah doctrine whereby the world of matter and existence is held together as a matrix of symbology which may be viewed through divine sight. only by a worthy Kabbalah initiate using entheogens or sacred hallucinogenic drugs, a common symbiology of hallucinogenic enteoptic phenomena. Man, you don't even need those type of words, complex and confusing words talking about the truth of your divine creator. It's seeing circles or wheels within the fabric of the sky, land, or water, similar to the visions of drug-induced writings for thousands of years. So there you go. It's prohibiting that your practices are druggies. Taking drugs to get a natural thing you can get just by doing right in life. So there is your origins of Kabbalah and all occult literature. So as we see, pseudepigrapha created by the Venetians and Piscean families. So now you know, now you decide. Peace and love, eternal love, and KOS.